to play in a charity tennis match, you either have to be really good or very funny. And I had neither of those attributes, and it was pretty horrendous. I had Tim Henman turn to me and said, "Stop trying to hit it so hard, just try and get it over the net, mate." And I said, "Tim, I'm trying. I'm really, really fucking trying." I am Eddie Redmayne, and these random objects that you see in front of me are 10 essential items in my life, caveated by the fact that not a single one of them is essential, but they're just things I like. I'll start with this, a vodka and tonic. It's a simple cocktail. That's not a vodka tonic. This is the apparatus to make the perfect vodka tonic in my mind. It's a simple cocktail, but it's very easy to butcher. Here is how I make a vodka tonic, and within that, the kind of essential item is about to show itself. So you need a proper tumbler, like a good, thick, heavy, satisfying in the hand glass. You need a lot of ice. I'm just gonna fill that. Then a good squeeze of the lime. The vodka's important, but it's not weirdly the most essential item. So I Kettle One, great vodka. So I'm quite sort of abstemious without the amount of vodka at the bottom. And this is one of my essential items, which is this Schweppes brand of tonic. There are many pretenders to the tonic throne. I'm in no way endorsed by Schweppes, but this is really important to me. A can, because it's all about the fizziness. You take the glass up to the person you're pouring with a cold can of tonic, and then you literally drink it while you can still feel the bubbles. Cheers. My next item, a suitcase, was given to me as a gift about 15 years ago. It's made by Globe-Trotter, and you can kind of flick it open, and it's a battered old thing, and I adore it. It was what I took everything to set on, put scripts, computers, everything in, and then I got cast in Fantastic Beasts. And when I turned up for the audition or for the meeting with the director, I bought this case not knowing what the piece was about. And then he started talking about this case and how the character had this case that was kind of essential, at which point I sort of gently pushed the case under my chair because I thought he might think I was one of those actors who turned up sort of in costume with their own props. And I've basically not really been able to sort of walk around with one of my favourite things in the world for a while. But now I can again, which is wonderful. So yeah, that's my not quite so essential item. These are salt and vinegar squares. I feel like I know more about salt and vinegar crisps than I do about most things, and these are probably my favourite crisps. They're called squares. You get them in kind of most shops in the UK, but whenever I get off a plane, having travelled, I buy a packet of salt and vinegar squares. And now the great one is a disco. In the more posh range, a sea salt and Chardonnay vinegar. I recommend that to everyone. It's so searing that it should come with an advice warning that you have to buy, sort of mouth ulcer cream. Salt vinegar square is a delicious thing. This here is a candle, and it's made by a company called Trudon. They're a French company. Acting is quite peripatetic. You travel a lot. And for me, smell is something that really grounds me. This company, as far as I can work out, was sort of created in sort of 16th century France. This one's called Ernesto, my favourite. It smells incredible. And when you light this candle, you feel like you're in kind of some sort of Louis XIV monastery. And it transpires that that's somewhere that I quite enjoy the smell of. Next, this is my paint box and paint brushes. I have loved painting since I was tiny. When I'm on film sets, there's a lot of waiting around. I find if I read a book or try and do something that is a story and a kind of narrative story, but different to the one that I'm telling, it takes me out of the headspace. So I'm always looking for things that you can do to sort of pass the time. And I find painting is one of those things. I love that you paint with a box like this and you leave the colours that you've mixed on it. And when you come back, there's a sort of history to it. I'm deeply colourblind, so I do very questionable paintings. I've been known to paint clouds that are grey and shitty brown, but I love it. I love tennis. I've loved tennis since I was a kid. This racket I was given, I think, for my 14th birthday. It's called Prince Precision Graphite. I know there are definitely better tennis rackets out there in the world, but it makes me feel very comforted, and I've always played with this racket. Am I any good at tennis? Not particularly. I got asked to play in a charity tennis match. It was at Queen's, and it was with Andy Murray and Tim Henman. The idea of playing sport in front of people, it brings me out in hives, and it's quite literally my worst nightmare. I said yes, and in my head I was like, I can probably still play a bit. Boris Johnson was playing, Michael McIntyre, a comedian, was playing, Jonathan Ross, a comedian, Richard Branson were playing, and I realised very quickly as I stepped onto court in front of hundreds of people that to play in a charity tennis match, you either have to be really good or very funny. And I had neither of those attributes, and it was pretty horrendous. And I played very, very badly. I had Tim Henman turn to me and said, "Stop trying to hit it so hard, just try and get it over the net, mate." And I said, "Tim, I'm trying. I'm really, really fucking trying." My next item is my watch. I love a watch, not really a sort of phony techno watchy person. I love being able to tell the time, old school. This is my Omega Seamaster. My dad used to have an Omega. There's a kind of a legacy thing to them, and because they're so beautifully made, they sort of last well beyond your own lifetime. And it also has this dinky little thing that it has one of these turning things, and it's weirdly satisfying. This wash bag was a gift from a party after the Oscars of the Year of the Danish Girl, and in it are a few things that I want to share with you. First, this stuff, VO5 surf style paste. For years, this has been my go-to product. It makes an English person look like they have surfer hair. So that's one thing. The second thing is this. Now this is a thing. Now, I mean, whenever I shave, I get bumps, like really quite bad ingrowing hairs and things when I wet shave. And there are lots of things that promise that they deal with that. I don't think they do, except for this thing, which is made by a brand called Anthony, and you put it on after you shave and it really stops that from happening. And I really wanted to share that with you. That's a thing. This thing, chapstick. I have gigantic lips. There are sort of Twitter feeds about how dry and dehydrated my lips look a lot of the time, which isn't an indictment for this stuff, except for the fact that I've tried everything else and none of them seem to quite work in the way that a chapstick does. And then this. So in actors, there are makeup artists in our lives who, for red carpets and things, make us look palatable. They're called groomers for men to try and make us feel less emasculated somehow, which I always find interesting because I sort of feel like a horse or a pony. But two of these wonderful women who I work with in America, a woman called Barbara and Amy, have come up with this oil. It's called Circa 1970, and it is great. They are people that know more about skin than I do, and this is something I would recommend. This is my next essential item. So this this is one of my favourite items, essentials, not essential, but lovely thing. It is a cardigan that I wore. I stole actually from a shoot that I did with Prada a few years ago. It is multicoloured. I can't tell quite how vibrant and bright it is because of my colour blindness, but it definitely makes me feel buoyant and happy when I wear it, and it's also like being given a gigantic hug. I take it on planes with me. I love the fact that it's sort of hand woven and crocheted and knitted, and it's also really robust. I put it through the ringer, this guy, and it's still here. This here is a Theragun. I've just finished doing a musical play in London, the West End, called Cabaret. The most physical thing I've ever done, and it almost killed me. And the thing that kept me kind of alive, or my sort of body alive, was this thing, which looks like some sort of weapon. Very good for forearms, good for IT bands. I'm not sure I could have survived that show without it, so this is a useful bit of kit. for people that are tight, like me. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I want to thank GQ Germany for my Man of the Year award. And if you want to see other people's essential items, you can do that down here. Cheers.